body, body, body. It's your big. It's your big day, 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 day. It's your big day. It's your big day, everybody. It's your big day, everybody. It's your big day. It's your big, 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 big. It's your big. It's your big. It's your big, big, big. It's your big. It's your big day, 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 day. It's your big 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 day, 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 day. It's your big day, everybody. This is the Vibe Guide. One-on-one. You on you. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's your big day. What is up, everybody? What is going on, everybody? What is up? What is up? What It is such an amazing day today. It is. Yo, big, 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 big. It's your big day. Yes, it is. It's your big day. It's your big day. Yes, it is. It's your big day. Yes, it is. It's your big day. Yes, it is. It's your big day. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, it's your big day. 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 Day, 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 day. It's your big day. It's your big day, everybody. Everybody, it's your big day. It's your big day. It's your big day. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's your big day, everybody. It's your big day. All right, everybody. It is definitely, 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 yo, big day is definitely yo big day. It's 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 definitely, 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 yo, big day! It's definitely yo, big day. Everybody can have a sip of this rose tea, if you don't mind me. Highly recommend it. We're gonna throw that in the link below if I can find it. You gotta have some of this, you guys. This is my favorite tea right now. It's a rose chamomile tea. It's fantastic. You have to have rose tea in your life. I'm gonna have an entire transmission on this, so I don't want to dip into it right now, but you definitely want to have a rose tea, and the reason is when you have a rose tea, the collagen, and it actually even says it on the can, and you can sense it. You can sense the difference in your body when you have rose tea, you guys. Rose water. Yes, keep roses in your life. These are blissful. You won't even sense any other frequency when you are in the presence of roses. There's nothing to feel otherwise when you're in the presence of roses, you guys. Tribe, 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 gods, goddesses, 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 goddesses. Yes, we are definitely, 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 definitely. We are definitely, definitely really happy to be here. It is yo big day. I gotta say the tag again, you guys. We have the coolest one. You know you want to say it with us. Go ahead. If you know it, jump in. We're gonna do it right now right after the thing. Okay, are you ready? All right. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right, it is definitely, 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 it is definitely, definitely the best day it ever was in the etherdom. It is yo big day. This is the vibe guide. One on one. You on you. All right. You are the best ones. Were you there? Were you there were you in it? Yes, you were. You were on top of yours. And I was definitely with you. I was definitely with you the whole way. It is a beautiful day. It is your big day. It is definitely the one. 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 It is definitely the one, you guys. It is definitely your big day. Okay, so we have the rose tea, and the rose tea has us feeling so blissed out on an ecstatic level, on a whole nother level. Make sure you stay out of the frequency of the Matrix, you guys. If you get caught up in those movies, in those shows, even the anime, you guys, if you get too caught up in it, it's too much. It's too much because it's supposed to be, I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be about being natural, first and foremost. It's supposed to be about being natural. It is not natural out here. And because it's not natural out here, people are having all sorts of fucking problems. And you're looking around at it. I'm not going to harp on it because this is a positivity, oneness talk show, podcast, etheric transmission channel, dance thing, slash, sexathon, slash, get it in your mouth some kind of way, in your ear, all up around it, all up near it, like as close as possible. Till it's in you. So anyway, it's definitely important that you're natural, you guys. I live in a big city right now, which is somewhat of a mistake, but they have a lot of opportunities here around the city, and they try to do it. There's nature, there's trees and stuff. I know they probably low-key have an aura that is blasting everything out of their way because they wouldn't be able to look the way that they do if they weren't. And, I need to go look at some healthier trees again because I just want to make sure that these trees look okay. Because it's been a while since I've been away from, it's been a few months now since I've been away from the city. And I need to get away, but because I'm in a city, it kind of gets you excited about other cities, and then you kind of want to go sit down at a park or something and see girls. So that's what happens in the city because there's so many people, and people are dressed up looking good so much, you kind of want to see people again for a second. So I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm the Avatar and I'm out of the Matrix, so it's weird going in there because they have rules and stuff, and so you can't obey the rules if you left the Matrix, and so it's kind of weird. But anyway, getting to the energy, today we're going to talk about some magical things. Today we are going to talk about, like I said, we have the link below for the rose tea. We're not going all in on the rose tea today, but I have to tell you, rose tea, I have my favorite teas, and right now they're jasmine green tea. And I have to say right now, because saying they're my favorite tea forever is not really being honest, and that takes away the flexibility, and it's kind of like getting married. It's like when you get married, it's not as fun. It's better, it's easier just to stay with each other as long as you want to. And that's how I feel with jasmine green tea. And with rose, I'm going to throw jasmine green tea in the link below too. I feel very special about jasmine green tea, and we went into the whole transmission, which was the last transmission, about why. And, I don't want to jump in there and talk about jasmine green tea again, because I could rape Jasmine, and that's why I like Jasmine, because she sucks my dick so good that I would never have anyone else do it, and she's so powerful. I love Jasmine, but this rose chamomile tea that I'm using right now is crazy, you guys. I love this tea. Would I put jasmine over the rose tea? Well, the rose tea is already in the pantry, so I would never fucking talk about it. If I have rose tea, rose tea is gonna be there. So rose tea is a big deal to me. And why? Because rose tea makes you feel fancy. It actually makes you feel like you're in a palace. It actually makes you feel like you exist in paradise, and it's because you are. So if you need a reminder and you lost that moment, I don't know how bad it could get, but if it got pretty bad, I would have to have a kettle, I would have to have some hot water, and I would have to have some rose tea. I would have to have, rose tea. I would splurge. I would go get a can of rose tea. Why? Because it's going to be at least 20 tea bags. And so that means you're going to have almost a month of tea. Like if you're having at least 1 cup a day, like, and you could survive only having 1 cup of tea a day. And most teas brew more than 1 cup. So, you know, or a fine 1 cup. So, you know, you could brew a little excess tea and you can make, you know, you could just put 1 of these bags of rose tea and infuse it like in a whole pitcher of water and get it cold. And you would have a whole pitcher of ice cold rose water. Like roses are indispensable, you guys. If you're not doing rose water, I don't know how the fuck you're staying etheric and blessed and refreshed and shit. And above refreshed. And the collagen producing factor, guys, you definitely sense it when you drink rose water. Your skin actually, it tenses up. And it very soft, like beautiful, like fuzzy, like beautiful tingly, like really immediate too. Like if you're a sensitive empathic person and you don't have a bunch of crud in your body and you're actually sensitive to the frequencies of actual vitality, then you can sense rose actually change your frequency. Anyone would. Anyone knows that rose would change the way that you felt, no matter what, no matter where you were at. If you had rose water, if you had rose, I have to recommend it, you guys. You guys got to jump in on this tea. I'm not going to stay on this tea forever. We're going to have a whole transmission about it because I brew tea. I brew tea for hobby. I brew tea for enthusiasm. I brew tea as an herbalist. I brew tea professionally. I've brewed tea for money. Like, I've brewed tea for money. I've worked and got training to brew. But I've been cuddled and asked to join brewing companies, startups. I brew. People know I brew. People know I have knowledge. I brew my own kombucha. I do brew my own kombucha. I brew my own June. I do brew. So I cold brew. I hot brew. I brew. I brew. I ferment. I know what I'm talking about. I love tea, and I'm drinking enough tea, and I've been around enough tea drinkers. I know tea, you guys. So definitely jump on this rose tea if you don't have any, because you're gonna need this rose tea. It's a great quality rose tea and there's chamomile in it. And the chamomile is great because it's sedative, but it's really light. The rose is so bright and invigorating, you don't feel sleepy at all, because it's kind of tart. The rose and the chamomile, rose has this sort of tartness to it. It's extremely, it's like a velvet. Only rose does it. It's the velvet of the rose. The rose has this sort of like deep, like burgers dirty, like tartness to it. It's not like a tart like a cherry would be. It's not like a tart like a sugary, like fermented, like jelly orange would be. It's not tart like that. It's tart like roses are. It's the astringency. It's like the vitamin C. It's the acid from the rose that's making it do that to you, and it's increasing your immunity. And you can sense that. There's vitamin C in it. There's vitamins in rose. You can taste it. Definitely know your fucking body. Know that we're channeling down the way that things are, and we know nature. Please understand that is vitamin C. You have to know what vitamin C feels like. If you're sensing like tartness in something that you're consuming, that's a vitamin C proponent. That's a proponent of vitamin C. That's vitamin C about to happen. The effect is about to happen in your body. What does vitamin C make you feel like? It makes you feel brighter because it's like citrus. You're gonna feel vitamin C. You're gonna feel your body wake up and you're gonna feel a bit more happy about it. Now, is it the end of everything? No. But vitamin C changes the way you feel, and you're gonna feel up if you have vitamin C. So I highly recommend you getting this rose tea. There's chamomile in it, and it's collagen producing. It says it on the bottle. Like I said, I'm gonna try to find it. If I can't get the link to it, I'll post another tea and I'll say something about it in the description below, because we're live right now and I'm not slowing down because it's important to have the energy where it is, and we want to keep the energy really high. So we're live on it right now. I'm not cutting off to make a big plan for it. We have to do it live because that's where the energy is purest. Okay, it's yo big day. Yes, there are plans. Yes, there are plans, you guys, but we can't plan too much of it because energy has to flow. Energy has to flow, you guys. Energy has to flow. Energy has to flow. When there's too many plans, it doesn't. There's no spontaneity. You all know what happens after that. People just start partying again, and they stop caring. They stopped caring. Why they stopped caring? because they saw how it wasn't working. Like without spontaneity, it all falls apart because energy can't flow. If energy can't flow, you guys, then, you know, something happens. People start getting old and people start dying. Why? Because their energy isn't flowing. Energy has to circulate. Energy has to be incredible. Energy has to be fucking huge as fuck. If energy isn't huge as fuck, then no one's gonna live. You have to have big energy, you guys. If you don't have big energy, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. And if people can't accept you having big energy, then you're gonna have to big energy out of there. You're gonna have to big energy out of there. Why? Because they're insane. Now, they're insane. Why? Because they're gonna keep adjusting the parameters and they're never gonna let you go. They're never gonna let you go because they're just gonna keep adjusting their parameter to you. Because you're the big energy. The big energy leads, and it's where everyone wants to go. You are the fuzz. You are the fuzzy. You are the fuzzy, tingly feelings. If you're the fuzzy, tingly feelings, everyone needs that. No one wants to deal with the other shit. Everyone needs you. But if you're ever having a problem, you have to understand that they're crazy. And they're not going to feel better until they go on vacation again. And it might be years until they get to go on vacation again. And so you're going to have to find another place to go because they're sick. And when people are sick, they don't like giving up their spot. I guarantee you guys, when they're sick, we're not going to talk about it anymore. But I said it one time, so you need to know what that means. And I can't say it again because I got to keep it high. I got to keep it high because that's where the healing energy is. It's your big day. And we got to stay in that healing resonance, in that sun shining fucking frequency. Because it's fucking cruel as fuck. Because life, the vitality, the radiant glow of the solar force, of the solar energy, only can be the solar force when it is the solar force. You have to understand that, guys. Immunity is immunity when it's immunity, only as it's immunity. It cannot be immunity when it's not immunity. If it's not immunity, if it's not vitality, it can't be vitality if it's not vitality. These two things, they don't really happen at the same time. It starts swaying. And you see how people are. They're nasty. They're like, are you strong left or strong right? They're nasty like that. Because that's not how reality is either. It's not strong left or strong right. But they're going to force that energy in there and it makes it weird. And that makes people sick too. Why? Because they're like, you're either strong left or you're strong right. That's not necessarily true. So, you know, it's being being actually like committed to it. It's not necessarily true. Like, I'm not committed to it. Like, I'm just over here because it feels like the one right now. If it doesn't feel like the one, I would go somewhere else. And it's that freedom that makes things so connected. It's like, what? I'm here because the energy feels that vice. Oh! That's why people show up. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about sequencing. I'm really excited, but today we're going to talk to you about sequencing. And this is a metaphysical talent that I've been learning over the past year and a half. And I'm really excited to share it. You can't find this information anywhere else because I'm self-taught. And it's because I found out that I was all clear like 9 or 8 years ago. And there was a brief period where I wasn't using the skills as heavy. But I've been experimenting with my skills for a while now. And I have new skills that people don't even know about, and it's because it's a research field. If you are into it, I don't think it really exists like a research field, but it's definitely a field if you take a look at it. Everything is. If you look at this tree in front of me, this is a particular kind of tree. If you saw this particular kind of tree, that's a research field. Why? You get to go to that tree, you look at what it's doing, and now you get to go look at the other tree like it and see if it's doing it. And then you see what it's doing, you use it for what it can be used for, and then you go, well, I can look at other trees now and see what they're doing. You can start researching trees. You know, you would understand what trees are doing, and then they would be different all year round. Why? Because trees do different things throughout the year. So there's definitely something to pay attention to, and it's not that boring. And people try to look at it like it's boring. Well, I don't know why, because when I went over there was like 100 tinctures in there. So that means this tree is not boring. Why? Because you can make incense with this tree. What else could you do with this tree? You can make a skirt with this tree if you wanted to. You know, there's all kinds of, you can talk to the tree. There's animals that come to the tree. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on around this tree. Why? Because a tree is a hub. A tree has a lot of activity going on around it. And if you got particular and meticulous about the life going on with the tree, then you would see a tree is not this stagnant being. It's not. It's not. It's not a stagnant being. The leaves are moving, they dance, they rustle, they sing. It creates a mood, it's a vibe. You know, so what I was saying earlier, and I'm going to jump back there, you know, I live in a big city right now, and like I said, it's great because of all the people. But I drove, you know, a bit down the road, and I got lost in, you know, the sort of like national park thing they have going on in the middle of the city kind of thing. And it was such a completely different frequency. Because I could not see the buildings, because I could only see trees, my life became so much better. And I just want to tell you guys, man, I don't know. These buildings, I think they're overrated, you guys. I think these buildings are overrated. Because I'm looking at these big buildings, and I'm seeing how they're just distracting me from the thing that actually makes me feel like the best. And when I went in there, and I've lived in rural areas and amongst the mountains where there's always big views and you don't have to see any homes or houses and stuff like that, you guys, it feels way better. It feels way better when you're seeing like Gaia, when you're seeing nature. It doesn't feel good when you're seeing this big erected building. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel good when you're going through like these doors that are supposed to feel like a special moment. Why? Because it's all imaginary. And so when people try to make a thing out of it, it doesn't feel like it's actually sustainable with the energy, you guys. And, you know, I'm just bringing that up because it doesn't look really healthy. And, you know, I'm riding through the city and I'm looking at the way that people treat people about like the cooler versions of things that you can have. But we make all the stuff that we're using. So it's like, it's not like one god or like one special person did something so special that they deserve like the one that they got. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's not like it's attuned to them either. Like your car or whatever, like if you get like a Rolls Royce, it's not like the car you would have actually picked. Why? Because it's a name for something else. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like the thing that you would have called it. It doesn't actually feel good because it doesn't feel like the one they made for you. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like it gets kind of weird because I don't know, like they kind of went with it and they got lost in the sauce, you guys, because they got lost in the sauce. Because when you look at a Rolls Royce, because if you've been on a couch, then you've been on a Rolls Royce. If you've been on a nice couch, then you've been in a nice car. Because all a nice car is, it's just a car that they keep trying to assemble a little bit nicer than last time. You know what I mean? So they're trying to make the couch feel a little bit better than it did last time. Just like the couch you go and you get at a couch place. So when you go in there, you know, they just try to make it look a little bit better than last time. Why? Because they're obsessed with it. And they don't want to look, you know, lesser than it did last time. So, you know, they're trying to figure it out, and, you know, and it's kind of a thing, you know, but you know how things are put together. They're not actually together like life is. People try to assemble it and make it look like life is. Make it look like it's real. But a car is not real. Why? Because that's glass. They had to cut it to fit that. You know, and it's because they get it so close to their measurements that it looks like it's a thing. That it actually looks like it's life. But it's not life. It isn't. But maybe it's supposed to go that way, right? Maybe there's supposed to be a part of life that you get to put together that looks like it's life or something. Because, I don't know, when I look at my car and I get in it and I have a nice car, I don't understand. I don't know. I'm happy for it. Watch like not agreeing with you. But it's only really good when it's doing something. You know what I mean? Like, and people see it and they look at me and they're smiling or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know what they're looking at. The next level will tell me what they're looking at right here. Because it's the next level the Cardinal said. Then the Cardinal came by as soon as I said it too. It's the next level that will reveal why they think this is so special right now. So let's see what the next level looks like. Because I'm looking at this level and I don't know how you charge me people this much for it without it being like for free kind of thing. I don't know. Because I have a mirror. It's nice to have a mirror everywhere you go, right? But like the light's not hitting me like in a way where I can really take advantage of the mirror the way I need to, you know, because it's for looking behind me. it's not for looking at me, it's for looking behind me. People try to multi-purpose this thing. I'm looking at the mirror right here. This was for looking at me, right? Looking at my eyes or whatever. Or you can't get this close to your eyes in the mirror in front of on your vanity or whatever without, leaning over the counter. So that's kind of cool, right? All right. It's like, I guess I didn't have one of those or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, you guys. Anyway, today we're going to talk about sequencing, and we're going to start slowing it down a bit here because we need to get into a hypnagogic state a little bit to really drive the purpose home. And we're going to drop into theta delta now. We are in theta delta. All right, I'm that skilled. I can drop into theta delta immediately because I have training, and I'm elito. I'm elito. It's a really nice skill, and a lot of the reason that I have the skills that I have, guys, is being psychic easy? Is everyone psychic? Everyone has, I think, some sort of in on it. Like, everyone can sense a bit of it, but some of us can sense a lot more of it, and it's because we were deliberate, and we practice the skills that are analogous or, in the same house. These skills are related, and if you practice them, you might have a place to go on your journey, a skill set. You might have a career that no one knew about. And I'm happy that this stuff exists out here. I'm happy that the New Age community exists, high New Age community. I'm not really into the New Age community, but I'm definitely into the New Age community. I am free. And I think that's what New Age means. I don't know what everyone else means by New Age. For me, all it is spiritual science and bringing all like the highlights of life together. I don't really know what it is outside of that. I don't really get specific outside of that because I'm not dogmatic, and it never felt like it was to me with the way that I experienced it. And that's because I experienced it, piece by piece. And that was because I consumed all the information as I felt inspired to. So I'm not sure if I would technically call myself New Age, but I feel New Age-ish or E, and that's why I'm saying it. So, but that said, we have these spiritual lessons for you today, but all spiritual means, I just want to bring this up, the word spiritual is jargon, but it's also a feeling, and it's headed somewhere, but spiritual is just jargon. It's like when scientists spoke amongst themselves, they would have specific words that they use, and spiritual, because you have to go back to the etymology, you have to understand where it comes from. Spiritual is a word that people use amongst themselves, the spiritual people, the people who study spirituality. So spiritual is something that they use. But what does it mean to everyone else? Well, the lower realm, if you had the witnessing, if you had the ability to understand like what a spiritual is a word to describe things you can't really see or measure very easily. That's what spirit is. It's a way of describing like spatial reality. Because of quantum physics and stuff like that, spirituality has gotten like new connections over the past several years and a bit more, because it's about connecting everything back to, measurement. And because people can measure space and stuff like that, they can measure some spirituality. But because spirituality and that are similar, they're kind of like the same thing. Because we're in this space, you can say they're the same thing because you're talking about, the forces of the invisible, the forces of the unseen, or the gargantuan. Maybe they're so big you can't see it. Maybe it's so goddamn big that this life is kind of like that, right? This is why spirituality is kind of interesting, because your life is so big in front of you, like the trees, the buildings, the cars, the ocean, the sky, the mountains, especially the buildings, mostly the buildings, because you're in school, you're in class, you're getting dressed, you're at the clothing store, the shops, all that stuff is so big. It's so big, you don't see spirituality. Why? Because you would get completely distracted, because everywhere you turn, there's something to look at. So it's important to have spirituality awareness, because you're aware that there's other things here that you can't see. And the air, I always come back to that. When we talk about metaphysics and we talk about being the adept, always recall the air, because the air is the first sign that you understand spirituality intuitively and organically. And why? Because the air is sort of like, for me, the air is the bridge, is the doorway into, like, if you were learning bending, I would highly recommend you learn air first. Why? Because bridge is the bridge between our world and spirituality. Did you sense that? It's like it's right there. It's like there is no difference. Why? Because air lets you know that you're connected to it. Why? Because air is gas. You can't see any of this air, you guys. You can never see air. You can only see what's in air. You cannot see air. Is there an experiment where you can't see air? Yeah, you can see air when it's cold, but that's your breath, and that's not air. You can see your breath in the air. You're not seeing the air. You're never seeing the air. You're never seeing the air. Now, I'm sure someone could conduct an experiment where they could help you see the air, but you can't see the air. When you walk out of your house, when you walk out your door, when you're in your home, there's air in there. You can't see anything. You wouldn't see your wall if you were seeing the air. You wouldn't see the table. You wouldn't see the window. You wouldn't see your counter. You wouldn't see the vase. You wouldn't see the picture. You wouldn't see your bookshelf. You wouldn't see your computer. You wouldn't see your phone if there weren't air in there. If there were air in there, there's air in there. All right? You can't see the air in your device. There's air in there. You can't see this stuff. That's how you know that you're connected to the spiritual world. And when we say spiritual, we're not talking about gods. We're not talking about the pantheon and stuff on the big day. We're never talking about that, really. All we're ever talking about is energy. We're always talking about the science, because that's the only part that's actually functionable. And all the rest of it is just like lore, which is interesting if you like the lore. But if you're an adult and you like getting to the bottom of things and you just want something that you can actually use and get the fuck out, because that's the only thing that actually matters. The lore helps you with ideas and stuff like that, but you have to understand it's the science that is the most important part, because that's the thing you can use. So understand, spirituality, it's just a study, it's just the idea, it's the lifestyle of like being with unseen things. You can't see it, but you can feel it. That's the difference. And sometimes you can see it, but most of the time, for the most part, you can't see it. I definitely see it. Why? Because, I work with signs and stuff like that. I work with energy. So, and I have spirit animals. Like all of nature communicates with me because I'm the avatar. So, when I see that, like I mentioned the cardinal earlier, the cardinal does speak to me. The birds will chill with me. Like when I'm having a specific conversation, like animals will chill with me because they want to listen to what I'm doing. And it's because they're also being a part of the moment. They want to hang out with what I'm doing, and they're going to respond to me. It's not a joke. Like there's a few birds hanging out with me. They don't like it when I always address them too, because they know I'm noticing them, but they want to be here. They want to be here around me in the moment with all of it. And they do speak, and they do speak on time. So, okay, because that's how synchronicity works. And anyway, what is sequencing? Jumping back into theta delta, because we're jumping all around. Theta, delta, on, bam. Okay, so we're in theta. I need you to understand, there is sequencing out here. So what is that? I call life the grand archetype or the grand RPG. So we're going to focus on that grand RPG aspect. If you're on streaming, gaming, or something like that, or if you ever played an RPG or a game or something like that, or even a board game or a role-playing thing, maybe you were in a play, maybe you played some paintball or something, you were the commander, maybe you're playing an imaginary game or something like that, maybe you took a role at a place you worked and you had to be that person or whatever, whatever it is, in the grand RPG there is sequencing. So what does that mean? You can sense the moment that it's about to happen intuitively. This is for people who are strongly clair or moving towards some sort of strongly clair. You want to advance like your skill sets, or you want to add on skills that you can use on your journey. I'm going to talk about this again because it's actually real, and it's about opportunity, and it's how you get to treasure, and it's about sensing moments. There's definitely sequencing in the moment. So there's a state that you can go into. If you shift into this state, everyone will want to engage with you. And it's not a state where you have to say anything to anyone. It's a state that you're in internally, and you're going to walk around and you'll start sensing flow in a different way. Sequencing. Learn to sense the sequence with people. Get into that state, become open, and you will sense opportunity. When you sense opportunity, beings will give you choices. When they give you choices, you will get to choose. You will sense the next sequence. You will sense where the flow of energy is going. This is called sequencing. Sequencing is the ability and the activity of sensing the flow of energy and where the next outcome is going, and being in the forefront of it, experiencing it, guiding it, communicating with the universe, redirecting it to the outcome, kind of like a Jedi-ish thing, toward the outcome that you desire. It takes practice, and it's fun. And for those of you who are intuitive, who are empathic, who want to be Jedi-like, who want to be free, who want to create outcomes that you need in your life, who want people to do things for you, you're going to have to get out there and you're going to have to truly experience and practice sequencing. What is that? It's getting in alignment with opportunity. And you will begin noticing what frequency that you have for you, because everyone's going to have specific ones. Like I said, you're a Jedi. Yes, you can come from that place, but if you're looking like a Jedi, you look like a Jedi. Okay, why will people respond to you? That's definitely, like I said, it's the grand RPG. I'm not going to tell you all the secrets, but guess what, guys? I have learned some shit. I don't know why it does that, but it does do that, you guys. There is something about garb. I don't know why. I'm still studying, but the metaphysical magic of garb, there's something about it. I do think that it's sinisterly real. I don't know why the magic of life does that, but if you wear the thing that you're trying to be, I don't know why it does that, but somehow, I'm not saying you just walked around with a bunch of fucking silver painted boxes, cardboard boxes, and then put them on your head and say you're a robot, that you'd be a robot, okay? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like true shit. It's about you. So anyway, everyone, get out there and enjoy sequencing. Sequencing, let me get on here and check this device really quick. I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, we are getting kind of into the transmission. I'm loving this. But sequencing is what you want to be doing. If you want to learn Jedi traits, if you want to be the magician, if you want to be the sorcerer, if you want to be the witch, if you want to be the goddess, if you want to be my wife, if you want to be my harem, if you want to be with me, I would prefer if you knew sequencing too, so we could use you, so that we could do things, so that we could have some fun, so that we, could have some real fun. Like the crazy shit, the shit you might wind up in jail for, or you might wind up in heaven for, you might wind up in paradise for. The things, it's wild out there, you guys. Please get your crystals and stuff like that. All of this stuff. Also, since we're jumping on it, since I'm a healer at a base level, I gotta say, please keep your citrine with you. Especially if you're working, if you're looking for synchronicities, if you need that extra energy, if you want to protect your energy from like negative things too, where you can kind of be untouchable, you definitely want citrine. And the color does matter. Like if it's yellow, orange, if it's cut, if it's faceted, the shape that it's in, if it's centered, the wire that they use, the rope that they use, if it were leather, if it's twine, if it's metal, all of that matters, you guys. It all matters. Yes, it does, because every single configuration is its own configuration. And you need to understand that when I say its own, I don't mean it belongs to that one place or that one thing. What I mean is it's its own energetic vortex woo-like thing. But the woo is real. The woo is not unreal. And on Yo Big Day, you'll never hear me say the woo is fake, because the woo is real. When you speak slowly, people slow down. That's the same thing as people talking about woo. When you say thank you, people feel thanked. That's woo too. So don't ever let people tell you that woo is not real, because woo-woo is real. Anything woo is real. That's why the state changes, and that's why things behave differently when it's woo. So what there really should be more like, woo-woo is more so describing is the behavior and the spin of the energy and how it's flowing. That's what woo is. So don't ever take woo to be a negative thing. If you're listening to someone speak about woo, they just want to be a negative person, because they don't want that. They want to talk about something else. But if you ever hear someone talk about woo woo or whatever and it being like that, be careful, because woo is real. Because that's how lifestyles flow. The tree is woo. Why? It's still. The tree is only moving with the breeze and the energy around it. The tree is woo. Why? Because it's making you feel a certain way. It's blocking your perception. It's not preventing, it's preventing you, it's preventing you from feeling anything else but the woo of the tree. Why? Because the tree has woo. Why? Because the tree is doing something to you. Why? Because it's hanging down. Why? And it's over you. It's bigger than you. That's woo too. But that shit is real. Well, it's actually over you. Did you see that? Well, you can climb the tree, you can get to the top of the tree, but where would you be? You would only be on top of the tree. But you would see that the tree is not over you, right? That the tree, that's what they mean. They're talking about that aspect of the woo, but that part isn't necessarily untrue, you guys. I just want you to understand that. Now, the status of the woo changed because of your relationship to the tree, because of where you were in relationship to the tree. But the woo is real. But you can say the woo is unreal and bifurcate and go the other way, and you can activate a different relationship to the energy of the tree. Why? Because the tree is not the same now, because you're kind of like Mowgli going up the tree, or you know, some jungle person, or some whatever, and you're going to the top of the tree now. And so the tree, you're going to see the sun, right? Because you're going to be at the top. And so you're going to see, like, you know, the canopy. You're going to see the top of the tree. And that's a completely different feeling, but that's woo too, right? So why did you feel like you were seeing the sun like that? Why did it feel like this elegant moment? Why did it feel like you were on top of these radiant, like lime-colored leaves? Beautiful like limes, bright limes. Why did it feel like you were just this beautiful canopy? Because of the woo. Why? Because canopy makes you feel like something, doesn't it? What does canopy feels like? It feels like the word like a net or something. A net of leaves, like a roof of leaves, a canopy. But the words are woo. So you know, if you want to understand this, is it good to omit all the woo? No. Why? Because if you took woo out, there'd be no feelings. What does that mean? That means people who are talking about what woo is are trying to opt out of feelings. They don't want feelings. But feelings actually create things, because they create the way that you see things. If there's no feeling, you don't commit to something. It's the reason you commit to things is because of the flow, is because of the woo, it's because of the vibe. But vibe is woo. Now, so what are we saying? Woo is real. So we're not going to talk about it much more than that, because it can become a weird thingy. But is it important to learn things with the lens on, the lens off? I believe technically it is. But when you just go that way, you know, if you just go that way, you're going to have a different perception, but you'll be in the woo of the non-woo. And that's important to sense, but you would see things differently, and that's why it's valuable. Because everything's going to interact with you differently. But in the world of metaphysics, if you turn off the woo, then the woo doesn't work with you. Does that make sense? And that makes life harder. Why? Because people move with woo. If you are a woo person, meaning like you move with energy, you move with emotions and stuff like that, and you're good at it, and you thrive that way, you'd be better off that way, because people will woo with you, because people do like woo. What does that mean? They'll be like, you know, but people do it differently, because there's all kinds of levels of it. If you have the wolf patch on your jacket, you know, people, depending on where you are, but that's woo. They're like, well, you have a wolf tat on your back. like they're gonna be like, you have a wolf tat somewhere. Like, what does that mean? They're gonna feel like you're trying to tell them something because of the woo, because of the communication. Like, what does that mean? Why is it on the left side? Why is it up there? All this is woo. What does it mean? All that's woo. So don't fear woo, because it's all woo anyway. But know when, you know, when something is illusion, and you can discard the illusion, but the illusion is also real, you guys. The tree is over you. If the tree fell on you, it's so fucking heavy, it would actually, there's not too many things that are over you that aren't fucking heavy, coincidentally, isn't it? What can be over you and not heavy? There's not too many things that can be over you that aren't heavy in life. So how woo is it when you look at a tree and you feel like it's over you? It's not that woo, but that's woo, right? Why? Because the tree is not moving. The tree is in the ground. But that's woo, isn't it? Right, the tree moving. Why? Because it looks like this tree is trying to move forward. Why? Because its trunk is going that way. Right? Right? But this man, he's jogging past me, but he's moving forward, but he's leaning forward. He's leaning forward. The tree is leaning forward. But the man is moving. Do you see the woo there? Both of these things are leaning forward, so you have this association. Why? Because leaning forward means moving forward. Does a car lean forward though? No, a car does not lean forward when it's moving. Wait a second. Yes, it kind of does. When a car goes forward, does it do that? You ever seen a car do that? Does it look like it's moving forward? When it's moving forward? A car does it a little bit differently. A truck does it a little bit differently, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yes, it does. So you do have to watch out for that. You do. Why? Because the man was running by, he was leaning forward, and the tree is leaning forward, and so there's this association that the tree looks as though it's moving. But that's not the end of it. Why? The tree also looks like it has grasp, like it has arms, and it looks like it's reaching out. And there's knots on it or something. So it looks like it has, like there might be like an eye or something. Now there's more. Why? Because the light's shining on it. And the direction that the light is shining on it from, you would think that the light introduces a direction because the light is coming from a direction. Now it looks like the tree is moving in a particular direction because the direction is on the tree. So it looks like the person's headed in a direction. Why? Because the person is facing a particular way. If a person faces a particular way, then the person looks like they're headed in a particular direction. So does a car. If you face a car in a particular way, people think you're going that way. In fact, that's the only way you're supposed to use a car. You're not supposed to face a car in the direction that it's not going. That's woo. Do you understand woo? We're giving you all the tinglies. Are you sensing it? On it. Are you sensing the woo? That's what they're trying to talk to you about. They're trying to talk to you about the woo. Just like this sign, it says head in parking only. Now that's woo. Why? Because I got stimulated. Why? It says head in parking only. That would confuse you. If you put that in front of a tunnel and it said head in, you would go in there and it said parking only, you would drive by it. You were like, there's only parking in there. I'm not going through a tunnel. I don't want to go through there just to get to a parking place. Or you would go in there like, I'm trying to park. But what if there was something else when you went in there? Why? Because it's not completely clear. That's the woo. But there's woo in the emotional world. But I'm here to tell you, there's certain spiritual masters I've heard who have said that emotions aren't spiritual. I think that's a great sort of like disembarkment so people can learn things differently so you can have a different outcome. But emotions are definitely spiritual, you guys. And emotions definitely have power. Obviously. Why? Because you get emotional when you move shit. Like if you lift weight, you're getting emotional. They can pretend that that's not emotion, but that's emotion. I don't know what idiot tried to separate things like that from emotion, but that's emotion. That's energy in motion. That's a person being in a state of being, and then there's a whole continuum. It's definitely an emotional experience. I think people just want to try to see if you can be unemotional if you curl your bicep up. Can you be unemotional if you curl your bicep up? If it's easy, but you're going to have an emotion about that. You're going to go, oh, this is easy. Why? Because it's easy. And then if it gets more intense, you're going to have a thought about it. You're going like, this is more intense. This is harder. And then you have to fight it off, right? Because if the body starts thinking that it's hard, then you start not wanting to do it. And that's part of the reason why people like to separate the mind. Why? Because it's hard to lift stuff. Why? Because most of the reason you can't lift it is not because you're tired, it's because you believe it's hard to do. Because the mind can't toggle it. It's like, wait a second, it's like, why are we doing this? It's like, why? Like, I guess we're trying it anyway. Well, because you got to go in there and figure it out with your computer going beep, 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 going crazy, going like, hey, well, this is heavy. And then you going like, I think I can only do this one more time, or 2 more times, or 3 more times. And then you'll either do it more or less, or the amount you said. And you go, what happened? Why is it like that? Like, why am I lifting this thing and having an emotional experience? Because you're calculating, you're having a perception about it. It's fucked up because you got 4 systems working at the same time. Why? One system's going, gotta have that rose tea. One system's going, hey, like the geometry of your bicep is working. Why? Because you have water in your muscles. You have sodium, you have salt, you have magnesium. You have all this going on in your tissues. All this going on. You have your joints. So you have that. But you're going to start having an emotional experience as soon as it gets hard. Or if it's really easy, you're like, wow, that was easy. Why? Because you saw something. Why? You saw how big the fucking weight was. This is the woo. Well, you saw how big it was. You're like, God damn. Even if it says 45 on it, you might have grabbed a 50 fucking pound bag of ice. Motherfucker. You grabbed a 50 fucking pound bag of ice. And you just threw that shit over your shoulder. You would have lifted 1 billion fucking times. You'd have lifted it 1 billion fucking times. Why? Because it's ice. But if you were in a block, you would have saw it completely differently. You'd be like, what the fuck is that? You're like, I can't pick that up. A little bit less in your mind. But if they put it in a bag, though, you would lift it 50 fucking times. That's the woo. This is what I mean. There's trillions upon trillions upon trillions times infinite trillions of this stuff, because there's infinite calibrations, infinite all the time. Why? Because who were you before you lifted the ice today? Were you working out before? Were you not working out? Did you have coffee today? Did you get sunshine today? Did you have sex today? Did you wear yellow today? Did you wear white today? Did you wear camo today? Did you wear cargo today? Did you wear flip-flops today? Did you wear steel toe today? Are you wearing gloves today? Did you brush your teeth today? Did you tweeze your eyebrows today? Is your hair long today? Did someone give you a compliment today? There's all of these things. We didn't even touch on all of them, you guys. All of them. Whoa. There's all of these things. Whoa. There's all of these things. All of these things. That's the woo. Now, there's so many configurations. You shouldn't listen to people too much about it. Why? Because it's always going to come down to you. It's how you are. Why? Because you change everything. Why? Because you're actually different than me. Even though we're connected, we're all actually different too. But we can be in oneness about things when we're in oneness about it. And that creates oneness. Oneness begins. Oneness starts. That's reality! It's actually fucking crazy out here. I can walk off and disappear and shit, actually. As long as I don't look back. But if I look back in my mind, that's the woo. That's the mechanism. But it's actually real. That's the science. That's the actual button. If you click that button on, you would disappear. What if you actually believed that you would disappear you would know that you disappear, because the next thing that you would do is learn knowing, because belief would become knowing because of the action that you took. Okay, like, it's crazy out here on the flazies. Okay, so I am the metaphysical master, I am the master of the universe, but ever since I started calling myself that, the universe started testing me more, kinda, which it never did before. Which is weird. So I'm having a hard time being the master of the universe, because it's like opposing energy is trying to fight me now and give me extra shit. It's like extra shit is popping up. It's weird. When I said I was the master of the universe, I never meant that, you know, you can't say anything else. That's what's crazy. It's like, oh, you're the master of the universe? Well, you gotta take the title and take whatever comes with it anyway. Don't say shit about it. It's weird. But anyway, learn sequencing if you want to be a Jedi Master. If you want to be a person, because we got to get back to this. If you're wondering what the gem was, the golden nugget, the rainbow crystal gem, because every transmission has to have one or I wouldn't be here. Learn sequencing. So it's a state that you drop into. So I would learn Theta Delta, because everyone can't do it, okay? I know, and there's different ways that you can train and stuff like that, but they're coming at it from a different place, you guys. Does that mean they can't do it? Well, I would highly, like, it's like an RPG. It's, if you ever watched, one of my favorite anime is that one, and let me give you the example. The favorite power that they have over there is called that over there, and when they get over to that place over there, it was the same kind of power, but they called it different stuff. That's the same thing here. If you come over here, they call oranges oranges. If you go over there, they call it like naranja or whatever. And then if you go over there, they call it whatever. And they treat oranges differently too. Why? Because it means something different kind of to all of them. So that's what I'm saying. It's everyone's treating it differently, and you saw how there was a different effect on it with the way that they did it. Because they didn't do orange juice like that. They did it like that. So what does that mean? Well, it means they don't do it. They don't do what you do. But what does that also mean? Did you see how we got away from the point? You have to learn sequencing. Because even if it looks like they're doing what you're doing, they're not doing what you're doing. Why? Because they're not looking at an orange. They're looking at naranjas, or they're looking at something else. They're not looking at a cloud. They're looking at something else. Why? Because they don't do what you do. They don't know what you are. They don't know why you're seeing it the way that you're seeing it that way. Because they have a perceptional science that they're using. That they're always using and changing as they go. They're not looking at the same thing you're looking at. So when you have an awareness that you are a master, you have to understand other masters can't even perceive what the fuck you're perceiving. Why? Because they have their own calibration to it. So if they taught you the thing that you learn, they can only teach you as it is. That's why they call the Bhagavad Gita as it is in the front, which I thought was hilarious. Because nothing's as it is when you consume it. Why? Because you're filtering it through all your data and you're only trying to take what you need. If that's the way you're doing it. That's how I am. I'm not reading the Bhagavad Gita to become more fluent. Why? Because I've read enough books that I don't need to read anything else, really. I don't need to read anything else. Because I know more words than most people anyway. I knew so many more words than other people, I didn't even get to use them. Why? Because people don't know the words that I'm using. What does that mean? I had to retire all these fucking words. Why? Because people they don't know the fucking word I'm saying. And what happened when people don't know the word that you're saying, they'll use words that and you won't know what they're saying. Sometimes. Why? Because they're gonna throw a word out there for you. Okay, anyway. Understand that everyone is not perceiving things the same way. And because of that, when you have your metaphysical mastery coming out, some of it you guys will do the same. If you guys are using the same singing bowls, or someone taught you something, you probably wouldn't be doing it the same way. Maybe you would for a moment, and you could keep going with it. But chances are there's something that you perceived or can do that other people can't do. Even if it's only 10% of it, even if it's 0.8%, that will still change it, you guys. Over time, it would be more than 0.8%. Why? Because things expand. Because things change. It would alter the entire thing. So if you learn something from us, if you activate your clairvoyance and what we teach you other skills along the way through talk show, all this stuff, through entertainment too, through love. If you learn all that stuff through us, which is dope as fuck, just understand it's going to be yours and you got to take responsibility for it. Yes, you can contact us. Definitely email me. Don't blow me up crazy. No, please. And make sure it's concise. Make sure you put it together. Make a video. Make it cool as fuck so I like it. Put some titties in there. Put some pussy in there. Shake it. Twerk it for me. Do something. Anyway, gods, goddesses. Yeah, learn sequencing. So you can activate that Jedi aspect of your life. So you can sense where energy is going. And so you can activate people. You can't tell people you're doing it, by the way. You cannot communicate it. Nor can I. Why? The universe won't even allow you, because as you're doing it, you're altering the frequency. You're altering, why? Because you're altering perception. They can't do it for you if they can perceive you're doing it, you guys, unless you have a really strong hold on the universe. I've done it before, but it's hard. Well, you have to have a lot of energy. Like, you have to, like, basically hold the universe's neck and say, no, you cannot tell this person what I'm doing, even though I'm telling them what I'm doing, kinda. Why? So you can get cooperation and, like, you know, but that's a different move. That's like creating like a clan or a party. Why? Because you're trying to tell people that you're trying to make a move. You're trying to tell them to get in on it. Like, to help you out with it. You can use it for that stuff too. Why? So people can sense that you're trying to move somewhere. So they can help you with it. Why? Because when people can sense you're going somewhere, they're going to go like, you know, they're going to give you like a thing. So, but you'll have to go through those to sense where they go. And that makes your life a journey. And I can't complain, and I don't want you coming to me complaining. If you go out there and you spend like the next 30 hours trying to get through a sequence, that now you're living. You're actually living this shit now. Why? Because you're getting results now that are alive. How exciting can it get? Like, the whole way. The whole way. People aren't pretending with you. I'm not pretending with my metaphysical prowess. You guys, I'm not. So there's real aspects to this. It's not woo. It's not woo. Is woo out there? Yes, woo is real, but woo is also real. You have to understand that, because there's a woo that's not real and there's a woo that is real. All right, anyway, because woo is a powerful word. Woo is like wata. Like, wata is powerful. Woo. Anyway, thank you for joining us in this time, space, reality. We're going to exit out. I'm going to throw a hypnagogic track on here so we can meditate and get hypnagogic on the way out. We are plussing up the radiance.